the Victory Studios in downtown Little Rock, this is Capitol View with your host, David Goins.
And good Sunday morning to you. We are off and running in the 2015 new year. Lots to get to on Capitol View this morning. After 32 years in elected office, tomorrow will mark Mike Beebe's final day as Arkansas governor. He sat down with me this week for his final television interview, reflecting on the last 8 years and what's ahead. Thank you so much for sitting down this morning.
Absolutely.
I know you've done a lot of these exit interviews. You feel like you probably there's nothing else to possibly say. I'll kind of start with one thing I remember when I was covering your run for governor in '06 when you were running against Asa.
You've been around that long?
Yeah, I have. But so we're talking in Jonesboro, and President Clinton came to an airport hangar, and I remember the part of the rally he said, you know, if you elect Mike Beebe as governor, he'll be the most qualified governor on day one this state has ever seen. Was he right? And how do you feel your experience helped you over those 8 years?
Well, I'll let someone else judge whether or not he was right. Certainly, I had a lot of experience. I had 20 years in the Senate and 4 years as Attorney General when I ran for governor. And, you know, when I was young, just getting out of law school, I thought that experience stuff was overblown. The truth of the matter is it helps. It helps a lot. I was familiar with virtually all of the state agencies and what they did after having spent 20 years in the Senate and as their lawyer for 4 years. I really understood budgetary issues because I'd concentrated on it. And the key to governing is always going to be the money. Because a lot of things you'd like to do, a lot of things you want to do, a lot of things you can't do, all revolve around where the money is, how much there is, how much is projected, what there is not, and then what restrictions exist on some of them. You know, some of those funds are cash funds, some of them are restricted funds, some of them are general revenue, so some of them are matching with federal funds. So all of that tended to help. And then I knew a lot of people. I knew a lot of agency heads. I knew a lot of folks down in the bowels of the agencies, not just the top people. So that helped because I knew who I thought was competent. I knew who I thought had done a good job in my relationships with them in their various capacities. That helped. But even with all that, the transition was extraordinarily intense. We spent 2 months constantly, hours, interviewing. Interviewing people who were already there, interviewing people who wanted to be there. So when we walked in January of '07, a significant amount of experience and a significant amount of knowledge about people certainly helped us in the transition and helped us hit the ground running.
Kind of going, when you look at overall approval rating numbers, I know this is something that you know, people have talked about. What do you think accounts for the numbers being as high as they are? You know, essentially, you're the highest rated governor in the country. Is that something you could have ever imagined?
No, you can't foresee that. But as you might imagine, I've been asked that question lots of times. I'll tell you what I think the answer is, but I don't have any empirical data on it. I think we don't give the voters and the electorate enough credit sometimes for what I call under-promising and over-delivering. In other words, for telling them the truth even when it's bad, for not promising them wild things that you may or may not be able to deliver, by telling them that this is what you plan to do, this is what you want to do, but you can't guarantee or you can't promise, you can't make wild promises. You have to know that we'll do the best we can, but we're going to tell you the truth, and if we can't do something, there's no point in promising it on the front end and then disappointing you later or lying to folks. I think the voters, now there are always exceptions, there are folks that want to hear what they want to hear, but I think the majority of the voters reward honesty and reward even bad news that they don't want to hear if they think you're telling them the truth.
Is it easier to under-promise and over-deliver when you get back to what you said earlier, which is having that knowledge of?
Sure it is. Yes, sure it is. But it's, if you recall, as one of my themes when I ran. And there are a number of instances where people tried to get me, including opponents, that were doing things that tried to get me to overpromise, to match what they were talking about. And I resisted it. And here's the key to that. I don't know anybody that runs for these offices that thinks they're going to lose. I mean, why run unless you think you're going to win? And So you better be saying things while you're running that you can do once you win. Because if you, it just increases cynicism if you make all these promises and tell folks all the stuff you're going to do, and then you don't do it once you're elected. And so I think it's good policy and it's good politics to under promise, but over deliver later.
Have you thought about, and you've mentioned this too, the things you'll miss, the day-to-day interaction, the meetings with people. Is there any way for you to kind of get a sense of what next Wednesday morning will be like when?
That's a great question, and I wondered that. You get up Wednesday morning next week, and you don't have a responsibility with regard to the myriad challenges that any governor faces. I can't answer that as we speak. I can envision that it's going to be relaxed. Mm-hmm. I can't envision what kind of load is lifted off, except just to think it's got to be something.
Right. It's more relaxing, but kind of hard to maybe get a firm sense of
right.
how you'll feel the day.
Right. Because it'll be the first day in 32 years I haven't been in some form of elected office.
And you've talked about things that happen after you leave office, perhaps serve on a board or teach a class, but that's not anything that maybe will come up immediately. No one seems, you tell people like, this is it, I'm done, but it seems like everyone I talk to is like, I don't believe you or not. So
yeah, I know. People said, he'll be back. He'll run for this. He'll do that. Again, it's just like the way I've run my life. I do not, and I don't want this taken the wrong way. And I'm not being coy when I say I don't foresee me doing anything full time. Now, when I say I don't foresee me doing that, then there'll be somebody that says, well, he's left the door open. But again, that's part of, I guess, my approach to things. I have no plans and can't envision any plans that would cause me to do anything else full time. I'm not going to practice law. I'm not going to run for another office. I'm not, as we sit here today, I am firmly convinced in my own mind that nothing's going to change that.
Maybe that's just a lawyer in you. You always got to leave.
Sure.
Yeah,
you leave yourself out.
There's no way to know for sure what absolutely happens in the future. And do you ever think, what did I say to make people think I still might do something?
Well, part of it's like what my wife says. She says you don't sit around well. And you're going to get bored. You can't play golf every day. You can't do X, Y, Z like you think you're going to do. You can't go fishing when you're not playing golf every day. So you're gonna get bored and you're gonna have to go do something. And to the extent that she knows me, I guess, as well as any human being, she's probably right about me not sitting well. But just because I don't sit well doesn't mean I'm gonna go do something else full time. I mean, they've asked me to be on this, whatever they want to call it, this governor's deal, where former governors, they've got 3 former Republican governors, 3 former Democratic governors. That's some organization that Congress has set up to advise Congress, not that they listen.
Right.
And I suppose on state matters, they've asked me to do that. That's about the extent of what I know. I've asked them. They said, you've got several meetings a year in D.C., but that's about all I know about it at this juncture. Obviously, I haven't done anything yet on that, and nothing else has occurred other than the invitation. But there'll be opportunities like that, and if you serve on a board or 2, there'll be opportunities there for to be involved in something and to be active. But none of that I perceive to be full time.
Well, what about the big issues? Those are coming: economic development, education, and yes, healthcare. Our interview with Mike Beebe continues when we come back. I'm David Goins. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
It's Family Leisure's after Christmas sale.
Huge savings store-wide. Spas from $12.99. Save hundreds, even thousands on display model pool tables. Sectional sofas and massage chairs are priced to move. Hot deals on summer items, too.
After Christmas sale going on now at Family Leisure.
Your life doesn't have to stop when the power goes out.
You can protect your home from power loss even during ice and snowstorms with one call to Power Systems by Royal. Our standby power systems turn on automatically and run on the natural gas line in your home, so you don't have to worry about dragging it out, filling it up, and running an extension cord throughout your home. Get power to your entire house within seconds. Keep important things like your refrigerator, lights, water, and heating unit running no matter what happens.
Call now for your standby power system during our end-of-the-year savings sale and receive a free one-year maintenance agreement. Don't be stuck without power this winter. Call Power Systems by Royal Windows and More.
Tonight, it's 2 all-new episodes of Celebrity Apprentice that will leave some bearing it all. And an apprentice first you can't afford to miss.
I've never done this before, ever.
Then, on State of Affairs, discover the show critics agree will keep you. They swore to protect the country, and tonight, they'll move mountains to save an American hero.
It's fun to go fast.
All new State of Affairs after 2 new episodes of Celebrity Apprentice starting 8/7 Central here on NBC.
It's Bailey Leisure's after Christmas sale.
Huge savings store-wide. Spas from $12.99. Save hundreds, even thousands on display model pool tables. Sectional sofas and massage chairs are priced to move. Hot deals on summer items, too.
After Christmas sale going on now at Family Leisure.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back to Capitol View and part 2 of our exclusive interview with Governor Mike Beebe. We talk policy and even a few things he says are left undone.
I didn't anticipate the health care would play such a big role. And as I've said, you know, you deal with the situations that arise. That's part of what governors have to do, or what anybody does in a business. Sometimes unforeseen opportunities or unforeseen challenges or unforeseen obstacles create a path that wasn't anticipated. I still believe that the cornerstone of state government should be education and economic development. I think they go hand in hand. I think if you don't have an educated electorate and a skilled workforce, it's hard to develop jobs, good jobs, and to attract good jobs or retain good jobs. But on the other hand, if you don't have the jobs, then all you're doing is educating folks to go to another state, and your taxpayer money is going down the drain to create qualified, educated people for that just leave because they don't have the job opportunities. So those two things still go hand in hand in my mind, and still form the cornerstone of what I'm all about. Because if you get those things right, then those other issues are easier to solve, whether it's criminal justice, social justice, healthcare. All those other things are easier to solve if you've got those cornerstones of education, economic development in good shape. Now, to your point, having said that, what we saw was, first of all, on the national level, the Obamacare passage created certain obstacles, problems, and or opportunities that states had to deal with. So the way we ended up dealing with it with the private option was Arkansas's version, and it was a Republican-Democrat coalition that did this, but it was a more privatized version of creating health care for over 200,000, mostly working Arkansans that didn't have health care, and it was Arkansas's unique approach. Now, subsequent to that, all these other states, particularly all these other Republican states, are doing variations of what we did. We were the first to get the waiver and to get the permission to do it, and subsequently the Arizonas and Ohio's, Utah's, Iowa's, Michigan's, Pennsylvania's, now we've got Tennessee and Alabama talking about it. The new governor of Texas is talking about wanting to do it. All these states that said they never would do any of this stuff, they are now kind of copying what we're doing in various forms. Because it's pragmatic. If we're going to be paying for all this stuff anyway, why leave our own people out? If we're going to be paying for hospitals in New York and California, what about our hospitals in Arkansas? And these other folks have come to that realization. With the exception of Mississippi and Oklahoma and Louisiana, everybody may end up getting there. I mean, I'm not sure those three will ever get there, but all these others are moving in that direction.
In the amount of time we have left, I know you've been
reticent to kind of wade in on, what's going to happen after you leave. But do you feel, as you, leave this office at the end of this weekend and next week, that, a program like the private option could still exist?
Yeah, I think it'll still exist because logic dictates that it's better than the alternative. I mean, whether Arkansas continues it or not, we're going to pay for it. Our money is our taxes and our reduction in reimbursements to hospitals through what's happened in the feds. All those things are still going to be hitting Arkansas, just like they hit the other 49 states to pay for all this. Why would we pay for every other state now that's doing it and leave our hospitals and our people and our business folks out? Why would we do that? It doesn't make any logical sense. And Asa Hutchinson's a smart guy, and I think he's pragmatic. And I mean, if you just look at the facts, I think the ideology and the rhetoric and the anger about Washington is one thing, and you can still possess all that. The folks that even passed this with 75% requirement, still the overwhelming majority don't like Obamacare, and they don't like what's going on in Washington. But they're pragmatic and they're realistic, and they said, our people are paying for New York and California and Arizona and Ohio and Iowa, and we're going to leave our people out. We're going to send our money to these other states and not get any of it back. Doesn't make sense.
Last question here while we got just maybe a minute left. As you wrap up 8 years, is there anything on your, to-do list, so to speak, that you're like, wish we could have done more? Yeah, there were a couple things. Yeah, I would have tackled changing the DIS model. Department of Information Services.
Yeah, we just started that here in the last few months. I assume that will continue. I don't know, but it's an outdated model, and there are significant changes that need to be made. One of the things I was really disappointed in is I really believed by the time I got out of office, the world would change so that biofuels, gasoline, not just ethanol, but gasoline from cellulosic products like wood waste, like cotton stalks, like rice hulls, would have become so economically feasible that we would have seen that industry take off. It would have been of significant economic benefit to South Arkansas, and as an alternative to OPEC oil and the foreign oil prices, that it would have provided an alternative. Now, the good news is American technology with shale technology that we've benefited from with natural gas also opened up oil, particularly in the Dakotas and in that area. And so now America's producing so much actual domestic oil production that the price of gasoline has gone, as you know.
It takes away that biofuel demand.
Yeah, it takes away the economic incentive for that alternative fuel.
All right. Governor Mike Beebe, thank you so much over the last 8 years for your time. And,
absolutely.
Thanks so
you.
much.
Enjoyed it.
And with Governor Mike Beebe leaving office, that signals a big week of change on tap, a new legislative session, and an inauguration. When we come back, the week that was, and an inside look at what it takes to make an inaugural event go without a hitch. I'm David Goins. You have Capitol View on Sunday morning.
J. Oliver's Fine Jewelry is going out of business and the final countdown has begun. The vaults have been emptied and the final markdowns have been made. Up to 80% off just in time for Valentine's Day. No reasonable offer will be refused. J. Oliver's Fine Jewelry on Bowman Curve in West Little Rock.
Your life doesn't have to stop when the power goes out. You can protect your home from power loss even during ice and snowstorms with one call to Power Systems by Royal. Our standby power systems turn on automatically and run on the natural gas line in your home, so you don't have to worry about dragging it out, filling it up, and running an extension cord throughout your home. Get power to your entire house within seconds. Keep important things like your refrigerator, lights, water, and heating unit running no matter what happens.
Call now for your standby power system during our end-of-the-year savings sale and receive a free one-year maintenance agreement. Don't be stuck without power this winter. Call Power Systems by Royal Windows and More.
Nature Valley Crunchy granola bars give you energy from 1/3 of your daily whole grains. So 1/3 of this commercial is dedicated to what you could do with all that energy. your dog have his day.
Wherever morning takes you, take along Nature Valley Soft Baked Oatmeal Squares. Oatmeal, cinnamon, softly baked. Nature Valley Soft Baked Oatmeal Squares.
At Taziki's, we keep it fresh, casual, and delicious using the finest, healthiest ingredients and Mediterranean-inspired recipes. Let Taziki's cater your next event.
For more info on this great Arkansas professional, go to arkansasmatters.com.
In Judge Judy's court, one dumb question brings an answer that's smart.
You left out a word. Stupid.
There's only one Judge Judy.
This is my playpen.
Weekdays at 3 and 4 on KARK.
J. Oliver's Fine Jewelry is going out of business and the final countdown has begun. The vaults have been emptied and the final markdowns have been made. Up to 80% off just in time for Valentine's Day. No reasonable offer will be refused. J. Oliver's Fine Jewelry on Bowman Curve in West Little Rock.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back to Capitol View. Activity at the state capitol ramps up tomorrow morning. The U.S. Capitol already busy with ceremonies. Half of Arkansas's congressional delegation changing over this week in the upper house, as you see there on your screen. House Republican Tom Cotton sworn in as the natural state's new junior senator. Cotton, one of 13 freshman senators elected back in November. All but one of those are Republicans. And in the House, the state's two new congressmen took the oath from Speaker John Boehner, who picked up his third term as Speaker. Republican French Hill takes over for Tim Griffin as the 2nd District's new representative in Central Arkansas. And new Congressman Bruce Westerman, also there with his family. He replaces Senator Cotton and representing the 4th District, covering much of South and Southwest Arkansas. Well, former Faulkner County Circuit Court Judge Mike Maggio admitting to taking a bribe in a case before his court on Friday. Maggio reduced the amount of damages awarded to the family of a woman who died in the care of a Conway nursing home. A jury awarded them $5 million. Maggio cut that down to $1 million. On Friday, he admitted in federal court that that decision came after the nursing home owner donated $50,000 to his campaign for the Arkansas Court of Appeals. Maggio later ended that campaign after a separate scandal involving inappropriate internet postings. He could face up to 10 years in prison. Dramatic change could be coming to the largest school district in Arkansas. The State Board of Education weighing whether to intervene in the Little Rock School District. After multiple meetings this week, the State Board giving Little Rock schools and the community a few more weeks to weigh in. 6 Little Rock campuses, including 3 out of 5 high schools, currently sit on the academic distress list. LRSD board members say narrowing focus and creating unique plans for each failing school is key.
I think it needs to come from the bottom up, not the top down. I think we should be the last strain of this.
I think that if they keep their feet keep the administration's feet to the fire, and everyone else continues to focus on what they're supposed to do, which is to educate students, that we can get to where we need to be.
After all input is collected over the next few weeks, the state board will make their decision at a January 28th special meeting. And a week before Inauguration Day, the governor-elect sharing some details on his agenda. Asa Hutchison told reporters on Tuesday he wants to push a middle-class tax cut and computer coding in classrooms as soon as he enters office. Even though there's a lot on lawmakers' plates, including the future of health care, Hutchison says tax cuts and computer science take top billing.
I know that some governors in the past have sort of held their agenda items more toward the end. I would like to have the session get off to a quick start.
Lawmakers start the session tomorrow, and Mr. Hutchison will be inaugurated on the following day, and that leads us to our political panel this morning. Not really politicians, but inaugural experts, Dave and Sarah Wingle, both on the essentially co-chairs for the inauguration committee. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Fast forward me to Tuesday morning. I don't want y'all to belabor weather because we know that's always a factor, but give me a sense of what this inauguration experience is going to be like on Tuesday.
Sure. Well, it begins Tuesday morning with a inaugural prayer service at Emmanuel Baptist Church that's open to the public at 8:30. It'll be honoring all the newly elected constitutional officers. At approximately 9:30, the governor-elect and soon-to-be First Lady will head to the state capitol for the official oath of office, which is at 10:30 in the House chamber. And then at approximately 12 o'clock, there will be an outside ceremonial oath of office and inaugural address, which is also open to the public. So we encourage everyone to come out, celebrate the day, and we look forward to, as the governor-elect says, a new day in Arkansas.
I'll say, Sarah, inaugurations don't happen every year. Sometimes they don't happen once every 8 years. Do you go back in previous inaugurations and kind of get ideas? Like how do you put something like this together to make it really reflect the state of Arkansas?
We did model it after previous inaugural plans and balls and tried to follow just the general playbook, and then I tried to put in things that I know my parents like when planning the details for the ball.
Mm-hmm. Full disclosure, Asa Hutchison is your father.
Yeah.
Should have mentioned that right off the top. and your parents to Ella Beth, right? So he's kind of the full famous family here. Fast forward me to the evening. Is there the inaugural ball? Is it the Museum of Discovery, and is the public invited to that as well?
Sure. So the Museum of Discovery event's actually the night before on Monday night. Mm-hmm. So that's a casual event that's unfortunately sold out, but that'll kind of kick off the inaugural activities on Monday night. But to Tuesday night is the inaugural ball. So at 6:30 at the State House Convention Center, we'll be hosting over 1,800 guests for the inaugural ball. It is unfortunately sold out, but we have a lot of sort of special events and surprises for that night. So we're looking forward to a great night to celebrate our new governor and first lady.
And I know part of the inauguration events I noticed this week were kind of like mini events throughout the state to kind of let people participate who otherwise wouldn't be able to do that. Maybe that's a new idea, kind of an interesting idea there.
Yeah, it stemmed from a kind of a good problem to have for us. So we really face unprecedented interest in ticket sales for our events. The vast majority of events that we're doing are open to the public or were available to the public. Since the events that we had initially for sale sold out so quickly, the governor-elect had the idea of let's do one in pretty much four corners of the state. And
let me ask you real quick while you got time. I know you're watching the weather, right?
Sure.
Hoping for no plan B?
Well, KRK says it's going to be partly sunny that day, so we're expecting it to be a good forecast.
Everyone's on the line then. Very good.
Yeah.
Sarah and Dave Wingle, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, the inauguration is ready to go. We are back to wrap things up after this. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Looks like it's Thompson.
Your life doesn't have to stop when the power goes out. You can protect your home from power loss even during ice and snowstorms with one call to Power Systems by Royal. Our standby power systems turn on automatically and run on the natural gas line in your home, so you don't have to worry about dragging it out, filling it up, and running an extension cord throughout your home. Get power to your entire house within seconds. Keep important things like your refrigerator, lights, water, and heating unit running no matter what happens.
Call now for your standby power system during our end-of-the-year savings sale and receive a free one-year maintenance agreement. Don't be stuck without power this winter. Call Power Systems by Royal Windows and More.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
All right, we're about ready to wrap this one up for this Sunday. Don't forget you can stay up to date with Arkansas politics by following us on Twitter at Capitol View AR and download that Capitol View smartphone app. If you haven't done so, make it a New Year's resolution. It's in the iTunes App Store and Google Play. We'll see you back here next week with an all-new episode and a good look at that first week of the legislative session.
Your feet aren't supposed to hurt, even if you're on them all day. Foot Solutions can help you live pain-free and enjoy your life. Stop by Foot Solutions today or visit ArkansasMatters.com and click on Professionals to find out more. Show us your feet and we'll show you a day without foot pain.
My family gets a big lift from good food, like Simple Truth and Simple Truth Organic. I love all the choices, hundreds of foods, and ingredients that fit our lifestyle. They're delicious, affordable, and make eating better, easier. Plus, Simple Truth is so easy to find at our local Kroger store. We just look for the green circle.
Simple Truth. Putting simple within reach.
Dad, why do we have to fix the car?
Because it saves money, buddy.
How big are Bigfoot's feet?
I think they're size 7.
Do whales sweat? Can I get my hands dirty? What do pigs Oink.
What are you doing? No, that's a crescent wrench. That's a monkey wrench. Hammer.
I'm being a good helper, aren't I, Daddy?
Yeah, buddy.
Can God fix everything?
KARK4 and Chick-fil-A of Central Arkansas have joined forces to honor those who are making a difference.
To nominate someone in your